Welcome everyone to Ring This is DS.
And I'm your dad bod demigod. My name's Joey Mayberry.
And we have a special guest, Phil Lindsay.
Too sweet.
Am I eternally beguiling today?
You are, but you're looking a little trashy.
Phil, tell me about the tweet that you saw.
I saw my guys at Heels, Pops, and Chair Shots compare our surprise tonight's dress to a certain trash bag that was, big news this week.
Oh no!
Because Eva looked like she's wearing that Mickie James' trash bag. That encapsulates this entire news and rumor episode. We were like, we have to film this right now. All pink everything now. She's still all red everything politically, but she's all pink everything. She's back to WWE, Eva Marie.
From Concord, California, comes the most
charismatic, bewitching, eternally beguiling, the most charismatic and enigmatic woman to enter this and any arena. Prepare yourself to be seduced, dazzled, enchanted by all things, everything herself.
Eva Marie.
You remembered the entire thing.
It's paraphrased, but I say it a lot.
This is the Evolution. The Evolution. We heard the rumors. There are rumors about Eva Marie returning since the last fall. We saw photos of Eva Marie working with Parker Bordeaux, the baby Brock Lesnar. We've been seeing hints here and there. So she's back! Out of nowhere, she was on this vignette on a little car, looking pretty, saying that it's Evolution.
I love it. First off, can we make sure to call Parker Bordeaux Baby Bottle Brock from now on? Because I love that idea. And you guys, Eva Marie is back looking like freaking RuPaul standing on top of that car. Gorgeous. Stunning. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what Eva Marie is going to do because she's already universally hated and then now she's even more hated. I saw Twitter tonight. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with her.
I don't know what this adds at the moment. I mean, you've got so much going on with the Raw Women's division in general. I mean, the matches aren't great. The segments aren't great. And then you introduce Eva Marie into the mix. It's like, where are we going with this? And I mean, she does bring heat. She does bring a recognizable character for fans that know her from the Divas era. But if you're a fan of this era of like work rate stuff first, what do you really get out of this?
Who says she's going to wrestle?
I did like her whole partnership with Nia Jax. That was kind of a cool thing going.
I thought it was nice that you said whole and Nia Jax in the same sentence.
I don't know. The Evolution stuff makes me think that they're clearly, mocking the women's evolution and they're going to have her wrestle. That's my guess. And I could be wrong, but the whole Carl's Jr. commercial vibe made me feel like this is where we're going with that.
Eva Marie has been gone for like 3 years, so she left the company in August 2017. It's been about 3 years, so we don't know what she's been doing. Maybe she's as good as Sasha Banks. Probably not. Maybe she's charismatic. Didn't seem that much like it from that vignette. But one thing's for sure, she's very much hated. And to think about it, she chose a really great time to return because she is hated. So she trended today. She was on top 4 trended list, and she trended with none other than Mickie James. All the tweets are about how the they fired Mickie James IIconics but put Eva Marie back! I mean, honestly, I hate kind of saying, oh my god, they kept someone, but they fired someone. I hate that conversation, but really, WWE?
Not gonna lie, it hurt. When you look at it that way, especially when you add on Billie Kay and Peyton Royce to the mix, yes, that really does hurt. I'm glad it's someone that I'm excited for, at least.
What exactly are you excited about, Joey? I'm curious.
Because I love what Eva Marie brings to the table. This gimmick that she had before she left SmackDown where it's just like, I don't want to wrestle. I'm here to be the star. I'm here to get attention. I'm here to get heat. I love that because it's the total antithesis of what a women's wrestler should be, and that in itself creates a very compelling character, and it's someone you can actually hate. I love Eva.
That's a good point. I think WWE usually they do a terrible job writing characters, but Eva Marie it worked that way because people just hated her because she actually was not the best wrestler. She wasn't the best promo, but her character really made her so hated. The reaction was there. Almost kind of worked last time time that I was there, we just obviously didn't see her actually put that character into work because she got the wellness policy violation, so she wasn't able to compete for the pay-per-view. I was actually working at WWE at that point. We're like, is this storyline or is it real? We're very confused.
I mean, the wrestling stuff is the wrestling stuff. Her doing this kind of blast from the past character that's not interested in wrestling. They're just kind of interested in doing the, salacious stuff. That's a good character. That's fair game.
So WWE already has someone that can do this who can also wrestle. For example, Scarlett Bordeaux. She did this very similar gimmick in Impact, and she aced it. She could wrestle. She's charismatic. She looks gorgeous. So they already have alternatives. But what can I say? I am excited to see what goes on because, how do I describe it? I'm just like, wow, really this is happening is how I'm feeling. Let's see how this goes.
I still think she's going to manage someone. I think that that's literally how it's going to work because she brings every single thing that every hardcore fan hates about the Divas era. Like, everyone looks at it and they're like, they can't really wrestle, they can't really talk, what are they here for? They're just pretty. And she brings that instant vibe of heat, and I love that she's going to bring that to it. Honestly, that's something that every fan's going to instantly hate, despite the fact that most of the Diva fans are clamoring for something like that to come back.
Speaking of Eva Marie and her trending with Mickie James, let's talk about Mickie James's trash bag gate. We didn't have a news and rumor episode to talk about this. Mickie James got this gift from WWE.
This is pretty accurate. How I got my stuff. Thanks, WWE.
She got all her belongings in a trash bag. So she tweeted out, "Dear Vince McMahon, I'm not sure if you're aware, I did receive my WWE care package today. Thank you. Hashtag always blessed, grateful." And it was all her stuff in literally a trash bag. And it said Mickie James on it, right? And then we saw tons of different tweets from other women saying, wait a minute, I got that too. So Maria said, last year I got one too. Gail came saying, they're still doing it. Jillian's like, I thought I was the only one that got it. So apparently this was a thing for years because when's Gail Kim released from WWE? That's like a decade ago or something. They've been doing this shit for years. After this got viral, Triple H tweeted, "Upon learning of the disrespectful treatment of some of our recent released talent received on behalf of the company, we took immediate action. The person responsible for this inconsiderate action has been fired and is no longer with WWE." And Stephanie McMahon also tweeted directly at Mickie James saying, "Mickie James, I'm embarrassed you or anyone else would be treated this way. I apologize personally and on behalf of WWE. The person responsible is no longer with our company." So they're like cutting tail. They're like, that person is fired, so we're good. The news after that is that the head of talent and Total Divas star, Mark Carrano, was fired.
Divas fans are eating good, man. Eva Marie's back, fired, noted Divas villain. Come on, man.
Here's my thing, is I get that you have to send people their stuff after they're gone. After you release them, that makes sense. But you're a multi-billion-dollar company. You can't send somebody to the Container Store.
I just think that this, coupled with Molly Holly stuff that came out this week, it's just like, this is how we treat our women's legends. Like, will we do that to any other legends in this company? Why are we doing this?
Tell us a little bit about what happened with Molly Holly.
So the Molly Holly story that I saw, we saw on the Hall of Fame that her speech got cut short. And, she said that she ended up crying when she was told that for like 4 hours because she said it reminded her of her matches getting cut and some of the bad memories from when she wrestled. And, of course, they made up for it by putting her whole speech on YouTube. But still, it just was I felt bad for her in that moment. I definitely felt bad with her not getting her moment on Hall of Fame because she is a legend. And, that era of women's wrestling wouldn't have been what it was without Molly Holly, regardless of how they do it. And then you couple that with the Ethel Johnson stuff that happened that night. It looked bad.
After this whole situation, Mickie James responded. So she first tweeted out to Stephanie McMahon, "Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that as I am equally embarrassed. I know this wasn't a malicious act. However, it did feel very symbolic of how I was presented in the last 3 years." She spoke the truth.
Straight up truth.
I thought Mickie came out just looking really great. She looked really classy. She spoke her mind. Everything she said since she left seems on the money. So, I'm Team Mickie in all of this.
So Mickie James really spilled the tea in the Gala TV, so go watch that episode right now. Not right now, after this episode. But she said it's been insane.
For God's sakes, I never wanted to trend over a trash bag, nor do I want to be known as the bag lady, for real. I'm going to get asked about this. Obviously, it's
I'm sorry, that's great. You have to make light of it, though, and that's why we had to come on here and do it. I mean, you have to.
Well, when they said cleaning house, I had no idea. Brutal. Brutal. And that's all I can do is kind of laugh about it.
And she talked about how Vince McMahon himself called and apologized for the whole trash bag situation. And also, Mickie James talked about this unnamed person backstage who told her that women's wrestling doesn't really make money. Let's talk about that, because that was like a whole another issue. So this weekend has just been terrible for terrible news about women's wrestling. So Mickie James talked about this all women's wrestling show that she pitched.
What if we do an all-female branded product? What if we just do an all-female branded show? Shit you not, like this one person said, because I kept getting, I feel like I've talked about this several times to different people in different roles and kind of gone like, okay, just to kind of feel it out. But finally over the weekend, while I'm sitting back there kind of like just evaluating like where I'm going to fit in, he says to me, they're never going to do it ever. Women's wrestling doesn't really make money. The Women's Evolution pay-per-view, lowest rated pay-per-view ever in the history of WWE pay-per-views. So, I mean, I don't know, like, I get what you're trying to do, but I don't understand why you're fighting so hard for it. Like, you should just kind of like play the cards that you're kind of dealt and then see if there's a way to like incorporate that within a different show rather than fighting for it to be its own show.
So Mickie James said she was pitching this all women's wrestling show behind the scenes, and what she heard back from the staff or the management is that they're never going to do it, ever, because women's wrestling doesn't make money. WWE Evolution was the lowest rated pay-per-view ever in WWE.
Bullshit.
I was a little confused. Was she saying that she wanted to do an all-women's show as in like a weekly show or just a pay-per-view?
So I think she was pitching for a weekly show.
Listen, 205 Live is dead. Let's just call it what it is. You could easily replace 205 Live with a weekly show on Peacock with the women. There's enough women for you to do it. There's enough women we don't see on TV. You could take all of the matches that you usually put on main event and put it on there. It wouldn't hurt anything. So I don't agree with that at all. And the whole saying the Evolution was the lowest rating, I'm going to go with, that's a big, nah. Crown Jewel happened that same year, folks. Hell in a Cell was that year. They could have easily brought back a network special for King of the Ring and did a tournament on the network. There are tons of things they could do specific to network content. I'm not trying to hear any of the excuses.
Like, you said a tournament. There's this thing called the Mae Young Classic that they just haven't done in a while that they could totally just put their girls that are on the main roster into that tournament. Why do you have to bring out outside talent? If you want to feature the girls that don't predominantly get any showcase, if you had Nikki Cross win the Mae Young Classic this year, that would at least give her something to do. And I'm going to sit here real quick and just call bullshit on the fact that women's wrestling does not make money and that fans will not purchase things if they are women's wrestling related, because I think that fans of women's wrestling would literally buy anything because they love women's wrestling, despite the fact if they actually have to, use their hard-earned. I think it would be
okay, we got the point, Joey. But I think, just like marketing-wise, too, I think, compared to Cruiserweight, the 205 Live, I think women's wrestling has its own very distinct, passionate audience, so I feel like it would do a lot better than 205 Live, to be honest. It is really shocking that we're finally hearing from, because we've been talking about Evolution 2 for a while, and there were like rumblings about if they're going to do it or not, but it is kind of shocking to hear what they actually think about Women's Evolution, or Evolution 2. Maria Kanellis also talked about the similar situation too. So Maria was hearing that Stephanie McMahon basically said they're not going to do Evolution 2.
Evolution, I was told, was never going to happen again. Because the management didn't like it. You have the opportunity to have a women's empowerment pay-per-view and you choose not to do it? I don't get it. I don't know how Stephanie McMahon deals with that. Like, as a woman, I've been very outspoken about my feelings about women's wrestling and women in wrestling. So, like, it should come to no surprise that as a woman, I couldn't deal with that. If I had that much power in the industry, like, I couldn't deal with that.
But what is Maria Kanellis doing on ROH is something that we should be looking into. So ROH announced Women's Division Wednesday. So Maria Kanellis kind of hinted on this during interview with Ring the Bell, but she's now the board of director member, and she announced that ROH will have a Women's Division Wednesday show on YouTube, 7 p.m. each week. So last week we saw Hyan, Lainey Luck, Roxy, Mex the Impaler. Most of them hinted at our interview with Maria Kanellis, and she also announced that in their 19th anniversary pay-per-view coming up, they're gonna have a tournament and gonna crown the new ROH Women's World Champion at this pay-per-view.
I love it. Did you guys get to watch the show?
Yeah, I did. I actually really enjoyed the match. I thought everybody had their moment to shine. I'm a big fan of Roxy. She's one of those women from Booker T's promotion. Hyan came from the same promotion. Kylie Ray came from the same promotion. And she's only 19 years old. She looks fantastic.
She's great. And then Max the Impaler is just such a freaking presence of a human. Like, I haven't seen someone that just stepped out onto the scene that I was just like, oh, I want to know their entire backstory, what they're about, tell me all of it, as instantly as I have in a long time when I saw Max. So I listened to Russell Talk's interview with Maria this past week, and she was giving a little bit more insight as to how they're going to be running things and how they're going to be bringing so many different women in and just kind of giving fans that taste of them before they decide who they're bringing back and who they're not. So I don't know who else we're going to get to see, but I think this is being handled very well. It's kind of like everything the Mae Young Classic should have been.
You know, I know some people see YouTube and they get kind of leery, like, oh, why isn't it on TV? But I think some of the stuff we've seen over the last year in terms of YouTube content, it tells me that that stuff can do well and it can get exposure on the women's wrestling. So I think, you know, we should support it. Judging by some of the women they had lined up for last year's tournament that got canceled because of COVID, we could see some big stars. Like, I know they had Nicole Savoy lined up. I was big fan of Nicole.
They've got the Allure, basically the Beautiful People 2.0, Angelina Love and Mandy Leon. But yeah, I mean, it's really exciting, and what's really cool is that Maria Kanellis, she's got passion for women's wrestling, and she, despite her ditzy character back in the days, she's very smart about how she markets these women's division and how she wants to book this division. Talking to tons of different wrestlers during interviews, they talk a lot about how Maria Kanellis helped them with their characters. Cherry talked about it in our upcoming interview too. She's smart, she knows the business, and she's passionate about it. So that's a great combination. So I'm very excited to see what she's going to do with this women's division. Super excited. Last thing that we want to talk about before we wrap up is Slammiversary 2021, which is happening in July. And they did this teaser. It was not even a tease. They just put Mickie and Chelsea's face in there. But we've already seen this from last year. They just put everyone's face in there. That used to be an Impact, so I guess they have that picture rights. Not all of them showed up last year, right? Like, they put Rusev's face, he didn't show up. Yeah. They teased Mickie James and Chelsea Green, and they also showed, like, Australian flag, kind of alluding to IIconics. Ooh. Yeah, they don't have pictures rights, so they're gonna just use the flag from Getty Image. But yeah. This pay-per-view is currently booked for sometime in July, and I know that 90-day clause ends in July 14th, so I think they're working on getting those talents. And we recently also saw the return of Taylor Wilde.
Yes, and she looks fantastic.
Didn't she? She looked great. You couldn't tell that she hasn't been wrestling in close to a decade, right? And I mean, she looked great. Yeah, Impact is trending upwards. I think the Knockouts division has been great for over a year now, but I just think everything they're doing right now is, you know, a step in the right direction. I really liked Rachel coming in and winning the tag titles right off the bat. I really love everything they're doing with Deonna. Deonna's challenging for the AAA belt. Looks like a star. I just love everything they're doing with it.
I mean, I wouldn't even say looks like she's bona fide star material already, because that, not to mention how good she looks, Deonna in the ring is better than half the wrestlers on the scene, and that's male, female, anything. Deonna's where it's at.
With Impact, even some of the Impact stars joke about it, like how it's like secretly developmental for AEW and WWE, how like they prop up the stars and they give it to the big companies. But really, I think with having Jazz, in the tag tournament, bringing in more of a bigger stars. And if they can get, Mickie, IIconics, and Chelsea Green, who has big WWE fandoms, I think this could be even bigger for Knockout division. And maybe this is something they exactly need, more eyeballs, because their product already is so good.
With Chelsea Green coming, I wonder if it's going to be the return of Laurel Van Ness, or if they're going to try to play the Chelsea Green deal.
If it was me, I think all four of them should go to Impact. I think Mickie has a lot that she could offer Impact, and I think they could definitely use more tag teams, so IIconics would thrive there in their Knockouts tag division. And of course, getting Chelsea there, and she's good friends with Deonna. I mean, we could get Chelsea versus Deonna. We can get a tag team with them at some point. I think that's the best place for all four of them.
Literally salivating. That idea. Also, one idea. Mickie James and Jordan Grace. Give it to me. I want it.
Thank you everyone for joining this news and rumor episode, this all pink everything episode. You love my new hair. I'm feeling it. I look like a biggest Eva Marie fan.
I was thinking Candy Floss, but go word.
And I just want to let you know the Cherry interview's coming up very soon. I'm still editing it, so that's going to come up soon. It's a really cute interview, but it was a long one. It's like 40 minutes, 50 minutes, so it's taking a little time to edit. I'm going to book Rosa Mendes soon because I've been talking to her for a while. But I also let you know, in this summer, I think in July, I'm going to go meet Chelsea Green with my bridal veil outfit. So that's happening too in summer. So that's all happening. Phil, where can we find you?
Find me at PhilDL616. You can find my writing at Bleach Report and Daily DDT.
You can find me at Joey_Mayberry on Instagram and Twitter, Joey.Mayberry on TikTok. Check out my podcast Tops and Bottoms, and I'll see you every Saturday here on Ring the Bell Live.
And you can find me at DShin and Ring the Bell DS on Twitter, and Phil finally joined our Discord. So you can talk to Phil, Joey, and me on our Discord board. We will see you there. Bye!
Bye.